Welcome. We're back finally after a tiny bit of an extended hiatus.
That's all we do, really.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
Mhm.
on brand. But talking about, the Doctor's Daughter is one of the few
It-
low points, I would argue, of Series 4, and one that we
It's
have
literally the same thing as the Satara two-parter. Except
expand
this
on
time
that.
there are two clone factions instead of just one.
Oh, wow, you're right. That's never occurred to me. The fact that this is coming right after another story about clones, you're right.
It's also one of those episodes that would benefit as a two-parter, so...
I am not sure how I feel about that. I'm not going to say I disagree yet.
Well, but
And
you know me on single episode Doctor Who.
Well, the thing is, I think that this is an episode that needed more time dedicated to its story, yeah, but that's because a lot of its time is wasted. Like, you don't have to give it 2 episodes, you just have to refocus it so that the time in the episode, the 45 minutes, isn't like half of it spent farting around with fishes, but whatever, we'll get into that.
Or
So,
running down the same corridor set 20 times, like in Classico.
ugh.
Something about farting around with fishes doesn't sound right.
Okay, I'll say this because this isn't going to be a very positive discussion, as you can tell. This episode was better than I was expecting it to be on this watch.
I actually wasn't as bored as I was watching that two-parter last time, so that's something.
Like, for the longest time, my thing with this episode has been I think the only thing that works about it is David Tennant's performance. I think he kind of carries the episode. And here that's still true in a lot of places, but I'll go as far as to say this. I think all of the Doctor and Jenny stuff, for the most part, works.
And a lot of that may have to do with the chemistry.
Yeah, and it's really weird. It's weird to think of them as a married couple now because they play father and daughter so well. It's really odd.
I don't know what to say about that. This is a bit weird that this is how it all started for them.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like on the page, most of the stuff that we're doing with that relationship and that whole conflict between the two of them, I think most of that works. And part of that is building on the whole anti-soldier thing, which will become really obnoxious when we get back to it with the 12th Doctor, but here I think it kind of works.
You know, it's a repeat of the Doctor constantly ripping Unit a new one in the last story.
Also true,
Mhm.
although I think here that repeat works better than just the whole doing the clone thing because we will come back to that idea in the finale, so it feels better to have that be a recurring motif rather than just, oh, we ran out of ideas. It's like the Doctor being a soldier and turning people around him into soldiers is a thing that we're actually talking about across the series. So I think it's kind of more justified here.
The whole episode is basically anti-war, anti-soldier, anti-gun. I'm not against the anti-war messages or anything, but they're very loud and in your face in this episode.
Yeah, obvious no-brainer message of war am bad.
Yes.
See, the thing I hate about it with 12
Mhm.
is I think the 12th Doctor's arc in Series 8 was trying to do what this episode does, only Series 8 doesn't feel like it's critical of 12's attitude at all. 12 gets called out a lot for being a jerk in that series and future series, but there's never a moment where anyone in an episode just straight up goes Doctor, your anti-soldier thing is weird and it's wrong. Why are you like this? Basically what we're doing all across this episode. When Jenny is talking about how the Doctor is a soldier and he really is being judgmental and overcritical and hypocritical, she's making good points. I like the line where it's look at you drawing up strategies like a general. And he's but I'm trying to end the fighting. And she's isn't every soldier? It's that's a good exchange. I feel like this episode encapsulates the better version of Series 8's thing since it's more explicit about the idea that the Doctor's hatred of soldiers, I think, comes from self-hatred. And when he looks at Jenny, he sees all of the things that he hated about himself, in the Time War. He has that cool exchange with Donna where he's if I've been in a war, I've done really bad things, and when I look at her, I just see the potential for that again. Having another Time Lord around, maybe not the best thing when they're born into conflict like this. And so I think this episode is smarter with that. It's not just It's war is bad, yes, as Edward said, war and bad, definitely the message. Because being anti-war and being anti-soldier is not the same thing. This
Mhm.
one is way more critical of the anti-soldier angle from 10 as a character, and I like that.
Out there, I don't like the whole 12 thing either because I feel like it's a bit underdeveloped and
It's gonna be so obnoxious when we get to that series, I swear to
And
God.
it's just kind of weird that he turns down someone who wants to travel with him because she's a soldier, even though Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and Captain Jack are a thing that fans remember.
Yeah.
And like we're talking about this episode, I don't
Mhm.
want to get too hung up on talking about like a series that's 4 series down the line, but
But all I'm gonna say is I think it's better done here, like you said, but I still don't like it. I just feel like the Doctor is just a jerk in both of those instances.
well, he is a jerk, and again, this episode is critical of him.
Yeah,
But
so
like
we
I was
should do
gonna
that.
say, to move it away from series 8, I was just gonna end off by saying this benefits from being a single episode or a single story, where
Mhm.
series 8 you can kind of tell is written by a bunch of different people who maybe did not sit down and have a conversation about what they were doing with that arc.
Mhm.
Like different episodes, it feels like 12's attitude towards soldiers changes, and it's really weird.
This still just kind of makes me dislike the Doctor because it's like, why are you such a jerk about all of this? Like, oh, nothing but a soldier. It's so over the top and so
I think it's
jerky.
obvious. It's not just that she's a soldier that comes from him. And like she is literally like a mirror image to all the things that he hates about himself, and he just does not want to be around her.
Although there were some funny moments, like when Jenny seduces the soldier to break the Doctor and Donna out, and Donna's just like, I like to see you try that.
Give it a couple more generations, Donna.
But
She's even a blonde.
yeah, we should try this with 13. I want to see her seduce a guard out to get out once.
I like the doctor's little mouse. I like that mouse.
We
And,
never see it again, which is a shame, because I wanted to see more of it in action. Maybe have it distract a Dalek.
But yeah, Lucy, you made a point in one of your Facebook thingies about Donna's attitude toward the doctor and his feelings on the whole situation, and
Yeah,
how she's being really kind of callous.
yeah.
And like, I both agree and disagree. The problem is that she's all jokey about it,
Yeah.
and like she's constantly ribbing him. But like, she's not wrong for treating Jenny like a person and trying to help the doctor accept her.
Oh, that's
But
fine. I didn't have a problem with that. I just didn't like how she was just like, "Oh, you just need to like just accept this entire child being dumped onto you by force."
it's her glibness about it. It's the way that she kind of treats it like a joke. And like, I get it, Donna's a funny character,
Mhm.
and this is all in service of like, you know, sort of bridging that relationship. But I would have toned it down a little bit. Let's talk about the half and just this whole war and how this war is stupid. Like the Doctor and Jenny stuff, I think carries this episode into being approaching semi-decent, and yet it's shackled to the ground of mediocrity by everything else, which
Yeah.
is the whole conflict. A great point. Yes, I know what you're about to do, Edward. You're about to make a prequel reference, aren't you?
No, I just wanted an excuse to try imitate David Tennant by saying, yeah.
I thought you were doing a Palpatine, like, yes, let the hate flow through you. But yeah,
Electric.
Diamanda Haken makes a great point in her review of this episode, which is like, why is Cobb so old? If this war has been going on for 7 days and they've been through like generations of clones, why are any of them like coming out of the pod as old people? He serves no advantage. It's not like he has any military experience that anyone else doesn't have. You just gotta physically older clone. There's no plus side to having him be that old. Why is he an old guy? I don't think that's the kind of thing you address. I think that's the kind of thing you just change. Make him young.
Yeah.
That way there's one more element of like, why is the general so young? This is weird, before you realize, oh, it's been a war that's going on for 7 days. That makes sense. All of these clones are like a couple days old.
Yeah, and it would be a nice little foreshadowing, like you said. It's like, oh, he's only like, 20 years old. All the soldiers, all the generals are only like 20 years old. Oh, that's why, because they're all just clones of somebody at their peak.
You could also have done the clone thing of, since they're born already as adults, that they age a lot faster than
That could
a
work.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
And, like,
the Star Wars prequels did the thing of the clone army being accelerated to be adults faster, which means they have a shorter lifespan.
They could have done something like that, but he's like the only old one, right?
The only one that we see anything of, yeah.
So,
It feels like just like, oh, we need a general character to conflict with the Doctor. Those are usually old white guys, right? Let's get an old white guy without actually thinking of the implications of our casting.
yeah, I don't think they put much thought into that.
Let me know if this was a problem for either of you, because this never occurred to me until this viewing, and yet I think it's something that kind of breaks this episode. I don't buy that this war and this conflict is intense enough that they die frequently enough that they'd be through like 1,000 generations of clones.
Especially in a week.
Yeah, like
I mean, it's not like they have major devastating weapons like chemical warfare or whatnot.
yeah, no, we see like a couple of skirmishes where like I don't think there are any real casualties on either side. How intense could this war be that you're like just running fresh out of soldiers by the minute?
Ambition versus budget.
I think on the script level, they're trying to make the war like as petty and shallow as possible. Because all of this starts with like a group of people working on like a construction project, basically, and getting mad about who has the rights to what, and they split up into factions and start fighting each other over it. You combine that with the fact that it's only been going on for a couple days, and it seems like the episode is saying, look at how small and dumb this war is, and they all treat it like it's this big, grand, epic conflict. Look at how like war has completely like deluded them to the true nature of just how dumb and petty this is. And I get that, but on some level, logic has to be a thing. And if the central premise of the episode is we make clones and all of our clones have been like confusing themselves for how long the war has been going on because all of the original generation are dead, then you've got to sell me that this is a war that could kill that many people that fast.
Yeah, it's too cartoony.
Not cartoony enough. We need to see cartoony extremes of violence in order
Yes,
to buy that
we
this
need
is happening.
sound effects.
I still just do not buy, even if there was thousands of people dying and stuff like that. I mean, a week? I just, no, that's too soon. Make it a year even. Come on.
I think it's last minute replacement.
This was a last minute replacement episode.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it feels like with the way it's written and everything. It just all feels like a first draft.
Yeah, that's the way I would describe it. It's one of those first draft feeling episodes. Which, part of that, again, going back to Cobb, why is he the only character on either side who wants the war to continue? Like, he's the only one who needs any convincing. Why is everyone not like him?
Because we need an excuse to get Jenny killed so that the Doctor is sad and have that I would never kill you moment.
Pretty
Which
much.
I think is fine up until he, like, literally starts speechifying. Like, just him holding the gun and saying, like, I never would, fine. Him standing up and being like, make that the foundation of your society. It's like, all right, scale it back a little bit, please.
Like a man who would never what for everyone that's in the way back that don't know what happened.
When I was watching that by myself, I couldn't help but start laughing because he was just so dramatic, and it was like he was feeding into his ego so much. Now make it all about me and
Yeah.
my things.
Yeah, and like again, to reference back to Demon Dahaga, the man who never would shoot you totally would shoot you if you were made of metal and your head would explode.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so that covers my problems with the human side of this conflict. Then there's the Hath, and the Hath are a whole barrel of fish unto themselves. And I'll give them this, they are a pretty well-designed mask.
It's finally an alien that's not just an earth animal put on somebody's head.
Right, and yeah, like, you can tell that they're based off of fish, but unlike, like, the cat people and the rhino people, yeah, like, they don't look like any fish you'd find on Earth.
My only small critique, I wish they would look a little less plasticky, and the thing in their mouth didn't look like it was connected, all made from the same material. Like,
Get them to talk through bubbles.
Also, why do they talk through bubbles? But, whatever, I don't care.
Because it looks cool.
Weird world building thing, whatever. The real problem here is that, again, as Lucy alluded to, all of the stuff that's with them feels like wasted time. It's not wasted time technically. I get why it's here. The point is, again, anti-war episode, we have to, on some level, empathize with both sides. That's why Martha is in this episode at all. We need someone to be taken by the Hath so that we can spend a good chunk of the episode, like, getting to know the Hath. And it can't be Donna, because someone needs to be around the Doctor and Jenny to be, like, a buffer between the two of them. Because...
And it could be worse. It could have been Rose.
yeah. We need someone who can filter Jenny and the Doctor to each other before they actually start, like, growing closer, because without that, they're just not gonna mesh at all. So Donna has to be there to be the third party.
Like,
So
imagine if it was the Colonel unit guy from the Sontaran two-parter.
yeah, we brought Colonel Mace, and he's stuck trying to be counselor for the Doctor and Jenny, while Donna is with the fish people.
That could work.
I
But
would watch
yeah,
that.
so the whole reason we have an extra companion on this episode is to get to know the Hath, and it feels like a real waste of Martha,
Mhm.
especially because they don't talk, so we don't really get to know any character for any of them. And
Time for Martha to learn how their language works. Nope.
And, like, the thing where she goes out into the wilderness with one and, like, she gets stuck in the quicksand and then they push her out and they get stuck in the quicksand. Gee, thanks. Thanks for that.
You're sad because Martha's sad and the music is sad. And
Prima
there's
Agumon is
better sound effect.
Prima Agumon is really, really, really trying to sell the tragedy, and
I feel so bad for her in that scene. I see that she's crying and screaming. I'm like, a plastic fish went in the sand there. Everybody's really feeling it.
and see, that's what I'm talking about, where I'm like, I don't think this needed to be 2 episodes. Like, I get the thought behind wanting to spend half of the episode with the Hath, because it's a war with 2 sides. You want to spend a bit of your time with one side and a bit with the other. It's really ultimately not in service to this episode to do all the Hath stuff. Keep the Hath off screen for most of it if you must. If I'm rewriting this episode and I've only got the 1 episode, I think I can make it work. Keep Martha back where she was. Make all of the episode about the Doctor and Jenny and Donna, and don't bother spending any screen time with the Hath. Or if you must, just spend screen time with them. Like, in Classic Who, we never had to, like, have a companion on the B plot in order to spend time with the B plot, you know?
And also make them talk so you can actually connect with them.
Yeah.
At least give us subtitles or something.
If they can't speak, at least give them a wider range of facial expression, because
Mhm.
that's the real problem, is they can't talk and they can't emote.
Mhm.
If they can do one or the other, then they're good. Like,
Mhm.
I'd think it would be kind of cool to have a whole B plot with a bunch of aliens that don't speak, but you can visibly tell how they're feeling based on their face or something. But nope, neither.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the plastic mask for me is it just looks too plasticky and you can't move or do anything, and it just ruins it. Even though it's kind of a cool design, like you guys said, but there's no expression.
And, like, what makes it feel like even more of a waste of Martha is just how short her scenes are. It's like we're checking in
Yeah,
while the rest of the story is actually going on. It's like she's stuck in a lot of short scenes with characters who can't speak or emote. I want to skip all of her scenes.
Mhm.
And we
Just get rid
also
of all
need
that stuff.
to hint at the Meta Crisis Doctor by having the hand cause them going there.
Oh yeah, that didn't even occur to me. But yeah, we're bringing that up again.
Yeah, I forgot all about the hand.
Like,
Hand.
I don't know where we're going, but my hand is really excited about it. And it's like, without the odd visuals, that just sounds broad.
Just in general, I'd have made the whole episode about the Jenny stuff. I think that's a decent premise, and I like the way it's played for the most part. I'd have just given it more time. And
And
maybe not ended it so contrived.
Yeah, no speech.
as for Jenny miraculously coming back, we don't have to blame the writer of this episode on that one.
Yeah, that was Moffin's idea.
I'm sorry to Georgia Muffet, I don't want to sound mean, but she should have just straight up regenerated.
Yeah.
She should end this episode as a different actress. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Exactly. Have her regenerate into, I don't know, Christina D'Souza from Planet of the Dead.
I wouldn't have even gone that far. No, just have her regenerate into a completely unknown actress, and then go off. And, like, I get she has her own spin-off of Big Finish already. That spin-off should be someone else. She got shot in the chest. She should regenerate. I don't care.
No, wait. She got shot in the chest, but there was no blood, so it was just a flesh wound.
That's true. Where did she even get shot, actually?
It was a flesh wound. The Black Knight and Monty Python and Holy Grail.
The whole time she's just sitting here with her hand over her heart, like, I'm shot. I'm dying. Where's the blood coming from?
I would happily trade the Jenny coming back to life scene for the deleted scene where Donna talks about the pain that the doctor's feeling. That means that he was right to start treating her like a person.
Yeah, it's true.
It feels a bit tacked on because apparently it was. They made the episode and then Moffat said he wanted to bring her back in case he wanted to use for the new series. And that's why it all happened. So before we go on, I will say Doctor Who was never political, right? But we have an episode all about anti-war, soldiering, and gun control. But you know, I gotta get that in there in each one of these because I'm so sick of hearing that about season 11.